If you're wondering who Tin Man Games are, well, they're the developers that brought the very excellent Tale of Tales game. One of my favourite VR games of all time, and they even ported it to the Nintendo Switch, and I did a review on it, which I will link to the end of this video, but I did play it in VR as well, but that was on my PSVR many moons ago. But I still to this day stand by my word, it is a most excellent game.
Excellent!
And with that, hit them like and subscribe buttons. By now, hopefully, I should be at the 2000 mark, and thank you very much everyone that's helped me get there. You're all wonderful people. So, Neon Tactics is a turn-based combat tactical sim set in a advanced futuristic cyberpunk world. Think of kind of like XCOM but in VR. The first thing you must do in Neon Squad Tactics is build a team. You start with 2, go for a training session, and as you progress you're able to afford and unlock other factions. And with this you gain more characters to put on the table, and also more items, weapons, bombs and combat ready artifacts, both defensive and offensive, to your arsenal, which in turn you can pick and choose to what you want to give your actual characters, or indeed take into battle with you. The combat kind of plays a little bit Pokemon-ish, i.e. you have different enemies with different specific defences, which means that certain weapons will do more damage to certain defensive groups. Scissors beats paper, but paper beats rock. And this does work quite well, because you have to think about what you want to take into battle to defeat each faction. The game starts pretty simple, but as you unlock the different characters and factions, the upgrades start flowing and the more action proceeds. At the very beginning of each battle, you're put onto a table and you get to choose which mission you want to go on. These missions then pay out money and other goods in order for you to pay for all these upgrades and the like, enabling your characters to fight more of a long, short and even grenades and the like. The rounds are done pretty standardly. In most turn-based games you have 2 goes per character, i.e. you can move twice, you can move once, then shoot, you can shoot twice depending on where the enemies are. And then it's your next character's go or the enemy's character's go, and then it swings right back to that character again. Again, this works pretty well. Please go ahead and hit them like and subscribe buttons, it really does help the channel. Your personal movement is basically moving around locomotion, just like most other first person games, but in this one you can also pivot yourself up and down by using your hands like a ladder to go up or down to get better views of the situation and the battle ensuing. There's even a bar that you can go to and buy kind of like power-ups, and then you pour them over yourself or over enemies depending on what effect they have in order to hinder or help. And I thought, that's a pretty cool idea. There is a multiplayer aspect to this game, in fact up to 4 players. But unfortunately at the time of recording and playing, and I even went back and tried it later on after recording, I really couldn't get a game. I couldn't host a game, I couldn't get a game, I couldn't find a game, so I don't know what that means really. I can only really imagine that this would be really decent in multiplayer. I have looked it up slightly, and the dev on the site says that they are looking into it and they are aware that certain regions, unfortunately looks like my region, cannot get multiplayer games at the moment. And because of a lack of multiplayer, I'm going to have to ask you to like and subscribe again, because it's only the right thing to do. I did try my hardest to get a game. And so that brings us nicely to the graphics of the game, which unfortunately I didn't think were as perfect as it should have been. They looked okay, things were moving in the actual game itself, but the actual bar I think could have been done a little bit better. It was kind of like a lot of open space with only a few things to do dotted around. I probably would have liked a little bit more life to this. The 3-dimensional map was excellent. I loved this, and there were even little blimps that were moving around on it. Once actually in the Freya things, it kind of looked good, but it also kind of didn't. It just lacked that little bit of polish. The characters, however, they all moved, and yeah, they look quite good. Kind of reminded me of the Tale of Tales, which is probably unsurprising really. But all in all, it was kind of hit and miss. and to me that was kind of unfortunate. As for the audio, it was half decent and again half not. It was voiced, which was great, the operator was pretty decent, but all the different characters, they all had one-liners, a few things to say. And unfortunately, once you've heard everything they have to say, it kind of started getting a little bit samey. Although I will say that the sound effects in general were pretty good. And on to that all-important score. Neon Squad Tactics makes you think and strategize, with what I thought was quite a few different options to do so with. Within the single player mode there is quite a bit there and it's pretty solid fun to do. Unfortunately I couldn't get any multiplayer games, which is why I'm going to give Neon Squad Tactics a 7 out of 10, reducing it down a point until this issue is fixed, and when it is fixed it will go up to an 8 out of 10. But will you be buying it? I'll link my 15% discount referral code below.